these teams to be playing entirely normally at this point. I don't think the Dutch will be trying to sit on their lead. I don't think the Americans will be trying to catch up. Well, they'll obviously be trying to catch up, but simply through superior play.
I agree. I think Justin Lall said on his blog that both pairs just had a horrible set yesterday, and that was my reading of it as well. And I think if I was only 22 down after both pairs having a horrible set, I wouldn't be too concerned. They're going to play very normally for most of, if not all of today, and their big challenge is to get through this morning session. I think apart from yesterday morning, they've really done very poorly in the morning, so they'll be looking to keep this session tight and try and make some inroads into the lead.
As usual, I forgot to ask our spectators if we're getting through to you loud and clear. I usually get 100 messages in 10 seconds to confirm. Roger. Yes, loud and clear. Yes, please, thanks. Smiley.
Any no's?
No, they're all very nice. So shouldn't be long before we're ready for board number 1, and perhaps we could spend the time analysing this hand, should we? Drijver is going to open. The only question is, what is he going to open? Because he has different options here. Should you open 1 club? Then, if you get a 1 spade response, should you rebid 1 no trump? Should you, on the other hand, open 1 diamond and then rebid 2 clubs? Well, showing 5 diamonds for 4 clubs, basically. Or should you open 1 no trump if you are in range? Any views, Bill and Paul?
I'm a committed 1 club opener, though, and I'd rebid 1 no trump on this hand over 1 spade.
I'd be happy to open 1 no trump if it's in range, 12 to 14 or something like that. I think it's a good preemptive bid. But I think it's not within their range, so yeah, I agree. I open 1 club and rebid 1 no trump over 1 spade, or raise 1 heart to 2 hearts. That's my plan. The French might not like it, but that's my plan.
Alright. So you'd never open 1 diamond and rebid 2 clubs? I mean, I know that some...
No, I'd need to have had a brain transplant or something like that.
I like the point...
I think it's very popular to do that.
I like the point you both made, that Bill would open 1 no trump if in range, and that Paul would rebid 1 no trump. And I would do it too, because I have a stiff honor. If I had a small spade, I wouldn't like to open 1 no trump, and I wouldn't like to rebid 1 no trump. I think the singles and king makes the difference.
So it goes like this, doesn't it? If you rebid 1 no trump and your partner is likely then to rebid 2 spades on a 5-card suit, which is the French style, then you're in a silly contract. Ace, jack, 5th opposite a singles and king. But if partner's not going to rebid 2 spades, unless he's got a 6-card suit, then it's certainly acceptable to have that option. The French style, I think, would be to open one club and rebid 2 clubs, or possibly to open 1 diamond and rebid 2 clubs.
I'm asking an interesting question, a very good one. If South happens to respond 1 heart when you open 1 club, would you then raise to 2 hearts? And my answer is yes, I would. I would raise to 2 hearts.
Yes, I included that in my first answer, and it's a really good question because when you're working out what to open here, you've got to think through all the possible responses and make sure that you know how you're going to handle them.
Yes, it's something I gently chastise people for at the club when I'm trying to help them with their bidding. If they think after partners responded, I point out that if they plan what they're going to do over partners response, then they'll be much better positioned in every auction. Right. So we see the Drijver. I'm not that surprised. Is a 1 club opener on this hand.
But everything is smooth now because Grue came in with a double, and then you're not obliged to rebid anything. You can pass with a minimum hand. And nothing further to add, and that's what he's going to do. Also note that his pass denies 3 spades, because if he had 3 spades he would have doubled, the so-called support double. So his partner knows that he shouldn't compete in spades because Drijver has 0 to 2 spades when he passed.
I think they're being a little tough on South here, that expecting him to compete with his non-fitting 5 counts. He's not entirely sure what the level of fit is.
Well, I think you got me wrong there, Paul. I meant just as a general principle. I mean, say you have a 7 or 8 count.
Oh no, I agree. I know I was commenting on Kit Wools's comments that South shouldn't be selling out to 2 hearts with only a doubles and heart. When your partner might be sitting there with a balanced 11 count, I think that's stretching things.
Yeah, I agree. Depending on how many clubs one club shows, I mean, South has got no protection with his rotten hand. So it did seem an incredibly harsh written comment. Meanwhile, Grue has never seen a 14 count that he hasn't liked, and he got in with the double, even at risk of perhaps a 2-diamond response.
I guess he's not too worried about a 2-diamond response. And he does have 4. He does have 3. Even though, well, he's got a nice hand. We'd all want to compete. We're only at the 1 level when we come in. My concern would be that the 4-4 spade fit is our best fit.
It's a good point. Coming in, it's much safer to come in now than later. Going back to the 1 club opening, they played the so-called Dutch Doubleton system. So 1 club Doubleton system, so 1 club can be 2 cards for them. So as you said, Bill, Brink didn't have any protection here, so he couldn't compete. However, now the partner showed 0 to 2 spades, and the fact that he can't have more than 3 hearts on this auction also means that 1 club must be real.
Well, couldn't he have 2 spades, 4 hearts, 4 diamonds and 3 clubs? That would still be a 1 club opener for them.
Well, in that case, you assume that Lall might have responded to hearts with 3 hearts. Yes, I hear that there are voices overlapping from somewhere else. That would be the voices from the on-side commentators. Now click on the speaker on the live video and you'll turn sound off for the on-side commentators and you will only be listening to us.
East-West haven't quite calibrated successfully on this hand. East has given what I assume is a mixed raise or a 4-card raise to 3 clubs, so sort of sound values and a 4-card heart support. And he's obviously minimum for that choice. And West has also taken a pushy bid by accepting perhaps rather than counter-trying with 3 diamonds. So you add up the 2 sort of aggressive bids and you appear to get a contract that's got no play.
But this is very much in the style of Grue and Lall and the USA 2 team throughout the event.
Push the boat out.
Aha. Now you're much clearer. I don't know what you did, Bill. Anyway, this will not survive. It's going 1 up. And 5 pins coming to the Dutch.
So the option at the other table was similar, but West did in fact relay back with 3 diamonds, sort of saying, if you wanna, I wanna sort of approach, and East, who was rock bottom for the 3 club bid, said no thanks.
Kicking the ball back into partner's half of the field with 3 diamonds. I'm not quite sure, partner, if we should go to game. What do you think? 3 hearts? No, thank you. Well, I got this from a spectator. I had an interview yesterday and missed all day. When there's a lull, maybe a small commentary on how it played out yesterday, I'm sure I wasn't the only one to miss the play. Well, we can give you a brief summary eventually. If we get a dull board, we hope not. I think Paul was here all day, more or less, so he can give you a summary. My memory sucks. This is normal procedure. You won't let the opponents play at the one level if you have any excuse whatsoever. And Drijver is protected by his pass over the double. He can't have much, so he is entitled to balance now with his 5 count.
So this is a good position where you need strong agreements. After Lall's redouble of 1 spade, is South's pass saying pick a suit partner, or is it saying I want to play in 1 spade redoubled, however unlikely that might sound?
I think it should show a maximum for his 1 spade response. Wouldn't that be normal for most people?
I think, yes, I think East's redouble shows a maximum, but it's South's pass of the redouble. I think it's fairly clear when partner's very weak that this is just showing leaving partner to choose a suit. But in other auctions, it's very important to know whether South's pass of the redouble is offering the redouble contract. He wants to play there for penalty.
Oh, yes, I see your point there. Now, could Brink, if he wanted, could he bid a scrambling 2-note trump here, do you think?
I think he could, but I wouldn't opposite a partner who couldn't bid over 1 club double.
So to comment on your question, Paul, about what that pass should mean over the redouble and whether it's an offer to play 1 spade redoubled, here's a simple rule of thumb that I've found useful over the years, and that is that if the passer is sitting over the suit that's been bid, in other words, sitting over the player that's shown the suit, then pass should be an offer to play. But if he's sitting under the player that's shown the suit, then pass should simply be neutral, saying, I've got nothing to say, you bid something, partner.
So in this situation, perhaps South could have 5-5 in the black suits.
Oh.
Well, this one's a bit unusual, isn't it? Because in a way, the 1 spade bid supports West's implied spades. So I'm not sure that my rule of thumb works too well here, but in other auctions it does work well.
And I think having a simple rule is a very good idea.
So he did scramble with 2-note trumps, as I implied that he might, and he is kind of protected in a couple of ways. First of all, he's non-vulnerable. Secondly, they probably have a fit in either clubs or diamonds. If East-West are on a 4-4 fit, partner has 3 spades, so he will have 4 cards in either clubs or diamonds.
Three, 4, 3, 3 would be the danger shape there. I'm not sure if that's allowed, but there is a slight... I think that non-vulnerable condition made a big difference to Sjoert's decision there.
Yes. Also, Drijver,
but it was not... Go on, Paul.
I was going to say Drijver might well not compete with a 3-4-3-3 hand.
I was going to say exactly the same. You beat me to it, yes. 5 count and 4 triples 3. I think he would have sold that.
I think the other thing on the auction is both Grue and Lall's action. So Justin Lall, sitting east, has responded just simply 1 spade with a 9 count and 4 spades. I think this is, his hand is very flat, but I think it's quite common for experts now to not overbid when responding to a takeout double, especially when they've got a flat hand. And if West has extras, then they would play a raise of 2 spades. Doesn't show a great hand as traditionally it would have done, and really strong raises of spades would go via a Q bid. So there's a bit of subtlety in the auction that might not be readily apparent, but reflects the style of how experts tend to play these days.
I think that's because people are doubling on more and more dubious hands, flattish hands, hands that don't necessarily have support for all the suits, or not your classic 4-4-4-1 shapes. So I think responders, expert responders, have indeed become more cautious and conservative when responding. Of course, this 9 count's not a great 9 count. It's 4-3-3, and the Queen of Clubs has to be downgraded a little bit, it being in opener's suit.
You'll find on quite a few convention cards that, for this championship, that it says takeout doubles, shows support for the unbid majors. Support for minors is unclear, which means that they could have anything. They really focus on the majors when they make takeout doubles.
Yes. You're quite right,
yes, it's a custom
Bill.
of modern players here. I mean, in old-fashioned play, I think one club would still get doubled with the West hand, and now East jumps to 2 spades with his decent hand.
But I would put it this way. With a 9 count, I would jump to 2 spades if my shape was 4-4-3-2, and I wouldn't with 4-3-3. I like to have a roughing value if I jumped with only 9 high card points.
As I think Bill was saying here, an immediate 2 spade bid would probably have bought the contract, because South wouldn't have been strong enough to compete, and North would have had no sense of protection if he wanted to compete with 2 no trumps.
So a push board, 3 clubs making. You can see the result from the other room to the far left, bottom, other table, 3 clubs south, making. And if you want to see the play from the other room, just click on other table, and a diagram will be displayed to the far right on your screen. There you can see the auction, and you can go through the play by clicking on the single arrow.
So I think both north-south pairs did well to get to 3 clubs there. I think it's an area getting these part scores right where when I play the top team, they seem to get a lot of 5-inch swings against me. It's not so much the games, they get so many of these part score decisions right, and we've seen there that both of them have got it right and flattened the board in 110.
Well, here it is very inconsiderate of East to table a void in diamonds. I mean, that's not really fair. I mean, it's no crime to balance with 2 diamonds, and as happened in the other room and happened here as well. But it is, of course, disappointing to hit partner with the void. We've all tried that.
So I wonder how many kibitzers are thinking, I'd have doubled that if I were south.
I would just be happy to defend against 2 diamonds, I must say. I know what I've got, and I don't know what I will get.
Well, I'm guessing that neither south could double, in that it would probably be more takeout than penalty. Sort of following Bill's rule for redoubles, actually, that sitting under the bid, doubles tend to be more takeout-ish than penalty.
But what shape would you give him for it to be takeout? He doesn't have 3 spades, right?
2-4-2-5.
Possible, yes.
I would expect him to have something in diamonds for a takeout double. He's not doubling with a singleton diamond. He should be bidding if he's got a singleton diamond, generally. So I would expect something like Bill suggests.
So, are you saying that if Drijver had doubled 2 diamonds, 1 spade, 1 no trump, 2 diamonds, double, that would be for penalty?
No, that would be for takeout as well.
No.
In my world.
Interesting.
You would have something like 5-4-1-3.
So if you have a penalty double of 2 diamonds, you'll have to pass and hope the partner can reopen with a double.
Yes,
That's it.
it just seems to cover more hands.
I think that it will suffer the same fate. Down 4, can't really see that he can get more than 4 tricks here.
No, North is going to get squeezed, isn't he? By his partner.
Yes, but the East is going to get just as squeezed. In this case, South can play a black card according to what dummy discards down to.
Yeah. Dummy can't discard a club now, obviously, so he also has to discard a spade. And now a heart will just put it 4 down.
Drijver has to pitch a spade, and then South can defend depending on what dummy pitches. In this case, he plays a club.
And playing dummy. Very cute.
Well, if dummy had pitched a spade, he would have played a spade in playing dummy. When dummy pitched a club, he could just cash his partner's 2 club tricks.
A very pretty ending that a lot of bridge writers tend to like, although when it's for the 4th under trick, I guess it's less exciting.
Well, it's really pretty because the hand sitting over the other hand did in fact get squeezed, which you don't see very often. And I think the reason was that South had the lead. Well, no, it is a pretty ending. It's just simply that the hand sitting over the other hand still got squeezed. Strip squeezed, essentially. Slam territory here.
So their convention card says that 2 clubs is a relay. I'm surprised in their style that the South hand would be game forcing, so I wonder if an invitational hand is part of their methods here, as part of the 2 club relay.
This could be a super result for the Americans. North South certainly have a vulnerable game. There's 9 top tricks in no trumps to start with, and this looks like it's going to go 1 or 2 off.
Hasn't he only got 5 clubs and a heart trick?
Alright, so maybe 3 off if he can't get the 2nd heart trick going.
I think the contract in the other room is 6 diamonds. It really takes something to make that one.
It's terribly easy to make. Double dummy, you draw trumps and play the ace king of spades. Oh, you ruff a heart as well. But I don't like their chances. Single dummy.
Right, Bridge. Bill, we are Bridge commentators. It doesn't really matter what Gibb says, or Gibb finesse, or whatever. I'm getting messages from spectators telling me that Gibb finesse says North South cannot stop 5 tricks on 20. 300. I see. I don't know if Gibb can find a double dummy way to make this. I think he or it, whatever, can, as Bill just pointed out.
Oh, it certainly makes sense if you bang down the ace-king of spades, but not sure if there's any particular reason why you should, unless you feel that West is short and that you can't handle queen fourth of spades onside. So there is perhaps something to the play there.
It may take some time for De Clare in the other room to play six diamonds, of course. And it will take some time because they only played 2 tricks.
It's a 25 imp 6 diamonds. I mean, this could easily swing the match in the end of the day. And I really don't like De Clare's chances. He has to do everything right to make the contract.
Won't be the first 25 imp swing in the match, will it? I was watching yesterday when Davis and Muller in the middle sector had a card in misunderstanding and let a slam through that wasn't bid in the other room, and that was 25-26 imp swing. Meanwhile, Grue will think he's got a reasonable result. He's made his 5 trumps and his heart go 3 down for minus 500 against a vulnerable game.
Drijver doesn't like Brink right now. 3 diamond bid, just what he didn't want to hear.
Well, if he passes, then Lall will double. I guess 3 spades is probably forcing, so but Brink may still bid 4 diamonds as he has 8 of them. These decisions are never easy, and it also depends whether Brink's allowed to bid 4 diamonds. Some partnerships play that the preemptor can only raise spades or bid 3 no trump. Clearly they play that 3 spades is non-forcing. Another treatment.
You don't often see the non-forcing 3-spade bid there. But it is a solid way to play. I first read about this from the great American theorist Al Roth, who felt that new major suits after preempt should be natural and non-forcing.
Would he have opened 3 diamonds though on that hand? It doesn't look like an Al Roth hand to me.
Yeah, I don't know. He was obviously a very solid, strong sort of opener. But his theory was that if you've got a good hand with a major and partner opens 3 of a minor, say, then just follow your instincts and bid 4 of the major if you think you can make it, but give partner an out with 3 of a major, non-forcing. He used to use a mechanism where a minor suit, the new minor, would be a forcing bid. Well, it looks like this is going to come home for a very fine east-west result.
Would you believe that they're still on tricks 3 in the other room on that 6-diamond contract? And guess who is in the tank now? And has been for 6-7 minutes now?
Well, I saw that Wooldridge was sitting out this set, so it must be Muller.
Indeed, he is in with the Queen of Hearts, contemplating what to do.
Well, the declarer's clearly got a rougher heart, and from his perspective, I think when he finds out the diamonds are 4-1, he will possibly be forced into the winning line.
Can I ask you, would any of you sell out to 4 hearts with the Norse cards?
No.
Well, Singleton Diamond turns him off, doesn't it, or gives him hope on defence? It's my way of sitting on the fence, of course, Roland.
Nothing new there, Bill. I knew you would say that. So when your partner opens 3 diamonds, he obviously has the ace of diamonds, so you can get a rough. Is that correct?
No, not at all. You've got no idea.
Well, I think you have a very doubtful defence to 4 hearts with the Norse cards. And, I mean, 4 spades can't cost half a flat in Mayfair, London, can it? I mean, you almost have a save in your own hand.
Yes, you'd be unlucky not to make 6 spades and a club, whatever partner had.
Yeah, but that's no good if you can beat 4 hearts. and who knows?
So perhaps we could talk a little about fatigue. I mean, they're young teams, I know that. They have been playing for almost 2 weeks now, 3 sets a day, and I know, Paul, that most pairs play just 32 boards a day. Some play all 48. But don't you think it is a factor at this stage of the tournament? It's particularly for Lall and Grue, very much the anchor pair in the American team, and they play a little more than anyone else.
Have you read my blog, Roland?
Well, apparently not when you asked me that question, because
I was chatting
have
to
written
Justin,
something about that.
I was chatting to Justin Lall 2 nights ago on BBO, and I mentioned this, and I've written up much that he said on my blog yesterday. But he said he could play 48 boards a day for the rest of his life, every day for the rest of his life. It's really not a strain compared to their normal work as a bridge professional. At regional tournaments in the US, they'll play 70 boards a day for 3 consecutive weeks. Playing 48 boards a day, even at this level, is really not an issue for them.
But he's 24, isn't he?
He is, but even for the more mature professionals, not just on his team, but on all of the professional teams, playing 48 boards in a day is a breeze for them. It's so much easier than playing in any other event that they play. And actually he said that he really preferred this format because it meant that tiredness would not be an issue in the Bermuda Bowl final. The team that won would be the team that plays the best bridge under pressure. It wouldn't be the team that is least tired. And I think if you watch a bit of the video feed, you'll see these players, they don't look tired. They all look very relaxed and ready to play. And I think it's just right.
That wasn't the case yesterday when you saw Hayes and one American player, I can't remember whom, just nodding off, really. So, of course they get tired. They're only humans. I'm asked, do we still not know what happened on 6 Diamonds? No. But I can tell you that they played 4 tricks now.
Excellent progress. In another 2 or 3 hours we will know the result in 6 Diamonds.
So yesterday, when I was commentating on Wooldridge and Hurd against Muller and Device, I predicted it would be 4 boards before we were overtaken by Lall and Grue. It's been the same this time, although to be fair, I think declarer and the defence have a lot to think about in 6 Diamonds, so it's more a factor of when that board's popped up than the innate slowness at the other table.
So, 6 Diamonds, back to 6 Diamonds. The crucial moment for declarer now. He's about to take a second hard finesse. He's thinking about it. He can make it if he goes up to the ace. and he will obviously go down if he finesses the jack. It's a Goring playing the contract, and he is still thinking. He did go up with the ace eventually and played a heart, so the king dropped. So now he only has to guess the stiff queen of spades, but how can he guess that? I can't imagine. I know the queen of spades wasn't stiff to begin with, but they did play one round of spades.
No, 3-no trumps isn't playing very well, but I think there's a good chance that this result's going to be duplicated in the other room. It seems very normal to be in 3-no trumps on these cards, however poor it actually is in practice.
So, moment of truth, 2 cards left. Jack 1 spades opposite King 10. He led a low from hand, 9 from Muller, from 9x, and he's thinking again. By following with the 9 of spades, Muller trying to convince declarer that he has Queen 9 left and that he should finesse. But we've all seen that before, they have all seen it before, so it doesn't really matter which spade he sees. So, as you can see now, he misguessed and went down. 12 imps to the Dutch.
Although I'd rather be 39 imps up rather than 39 imps down, I still wouldn't regard this as a significant lead at the moment. We're still not halfway in the final. Plenty of time for lots of action. And the USA 2 team in particular is very good at generating imps, and normally most of them in their own plus column. So I don't think they'll be getting worried at the moment. They'll just be looking to grind things back.
Well, they can pick up big time on board 22, can't they? And get most of those 12 imps back.
Oh yes, certainly. But still, 39 imp lead is nice to have at this stage.
Nice play from Brink there, keeping communications open with his partner by playing the 10 and forcing Declarer to win the jack.
I'm sure Eric Rodwell will call that something, or has called it something in his new book. As you say, it's a very, maybe for an intermediate player, a slightly non-intuitive play. But as you say, it keeps the communications open because you need partner to lead the second round of par.
Yes, speaking about that book, I read it. I'm rereading it now, actually, and I can strongly recommend that book. I don't get a commission, but if you don't know what to do with your money, or you want to give someone present for Christmas or whatever, you should really get the Rodwell Files. It's a fantastic book. Did you read it, guys?
Yes, I've read it.
Well, I have it, but I haven't read it because I don't have a spare week or two to wade through it. It's a very large volume.
I've read it. I've got a signed copy of it, and it's also the prize in the Bermuda Bowl competition that I've been running for my friends. I think it is a very good book, although as David Bird said on commentary the other day, Eric has decided to give a name to absolutely everything, and David was saying that he's made that the feature of one of his Abbott articles for Bridge magazine.
Well, I'm asked if I could type the book details into window. Well, I'm not going to do that. I gave you the title of the book. Then you know what you should be looking for. And it's also relatively cheap, I would say.
So my guess on their system...
Okay, go on, Paul.
My guess on their system here is 1-0 trump is 9 to 12 at this vulnerability, and only at this vulnerability. Grue has made a penalty double in the fourth seat, and I think North's redouble says, I have a 5-card suit, so if you're weak, we ought to run, and I've got a 5-card suit. So this is a thing that many pairs will play, this redouble by the 1-0 trump opener saying, I've got a 5-card suit and I might want to run. But if you have a good hand, then you might want to pass 1-0 trump redoubled and put pressure on the opposition. So I guess that Lall's pass of 2 diamonds is forcing. That would be normal in this sort of auction. And Grue, with his distributional hand, knows that if he doubles 2 diamonds for penalty, he doesn't have a great hand with that, but also the opposition must have a chief escape in hearts. So he just bids now to show a distributional hand.
Well, Gamer's going to make here if they bid it. Will Lall be able to dredge up a raise?
I think Justin is thinking about more than a raise. He's just thinking which raise is best. Is 3 no trumps likely to be better? I think he'll probably bid 3 diamonds actually. But I think he might be thinking, I think he's going to bid game of some form. Well, we can see from the scoreboard that the best save against 4 hearts on board 22 is to play in 4 diamonds undoubled. 4 diamond opening bid with ace to 8 diamond has got the job done when East didn't protect on his shapely 10 count. So a tremendous result for East West, and meaning that it really cost that they didn't find any save in this room, given all the imps back from the slam.
You can see how popular that book is because it's out of stock at the moment at Amazon. But you can still buy it in many places.
North can lead. Anyone who says you shouldn't lead from a king is not going to like this hand. I don't know which king Drijver is going to lead from. It doesn't matter which one he leads from. He'll only be talking over tricks if he leads from a black suit. I'm quite sure that if he leads a low heart, which is the pressure lead, I'm pretty sure Grue will finesse it. This one he might put the 10 on the basis that, no, probably cancel that. I think he'll put the queen on it.
Spectator feeling nervous. Who's going to win this? The spectator is from Australia, so she's not biased.
Gosh, you shouldn't be nervous yet. Just wait until tomorrow morning, and if it remains close, as I'm sure it probably will, So Grue there just looking to not lose to a singleton king offside. If North has got King Jack in both black suits, King Jack third in both black suits, he's going down whatever he does. So he's just trying to guard against singleton king in the North hand, because that's the real danger to him going down with only one entry to dummy.
I'm asked if I know who are commenting on video live. I can't be sure, but I think I can hear the voices of Barry Regal, P.O. Sunderleen, and Jan van Cleef. Perhaps Sia too? Well, I must admit I haven't paid attention because obviously I'm focusing on our commentary rather than the on-site commentary.
Barry Regal, an Englishman who now lives in New York, is very often the lead vugraph commentator at the WBF events, also the European Championships. He normally comes across to lead the vugraph there. An excellent player and a very good writer and a particularly good commentator as well.
This is an excellent slam in theory. Very, very poor slam in practice.
Yes, it does seem to. It needs a bit of a spade split, but no, even that's likely. Just one or two finesses, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
the judge have chosen a good time to be cautious.
Yes, it's a bit unlucky to go down. It's roughly 75%. As Paul said, one of two finesses.
It was 14 opposite 14 with no huge fit and no singletons, so you can totally understand why the Dutch never sniffed at it. It's just that the cards are really, every one of their cards, down to the last jack, is pulling full weight. There's not a wasted pip at all. So I'm not surprised they didn't diagnose this.
It's not quite as good as one or two finesses, because if spades were 4-1 on side, you wouldn't be able to pick them up, even though the finesse was working. But it's well over 50%, which is the threshold for bidding a slam. And you'd be very annoyed. I mean, this is the kind of hand where if you bid it to 2-6 spades, knowing that it was as good as it is, you feel that you outperformed your competitors by bidding a good slam, and then you're not rewarded when it goes down. It can be very frustrating at times.
Do you guys have any idea of how long it will take to write the World Championship book? Is it a month or 2 months? What's your experience?
I must admit I've got no idea. I do know that Brian Senior, who I think is the typically the lead author, is playing the Premier. Will have to be playing bridge for a couple of weekends, so that might push it back a week or two.
No, too hard for me, Roland. Does this tend to be an Eric Kokish production?
No, not the World Championship book. It would be written by Brian Senior, as far as I know. I'm told by Dan Thompson that the book on Philadelphia was out about 8 months later. And the WBF has promised that the book from Veldhoven will be out in March or April next year.
So this is a dull hand. One of the few dull hands, to be fair, and that Declarer is going to comfortably make 4 spade 2.
Seems to be an increasingly common treatment to play transfers after your partner's opening has been doubled. So here 2 hearts presumably showed at least a value raise to 2 spades.
Yes, I think that's right. And as you say, it's extremely popular now. Marty Bergen was one of those to first give it a name. He used to call it Bromad. Bergen raises over major and double. So gets his name into it. But it is extremely common for people to play some form of transfer over one of a major double.
Yes, and a 2 spade response would be a very, very weak hand. And it really should be, and you should bid 2 spades if you have any excuse whatsoever, because you take the 2 level away from your left-handed opponent. So you don't really need more than 13 cards, and perhaps 3 spades among them.
We see some expert pairs, and Brink and Drijver are one of them, play a lot of transfers in competition. It's something I do as well, and I can tell you it takes an awful lot of work to work out all of the areas where transfers apply, and also how to assign sensible meanings to some of the more obscure sequences that you might want to use.
And North-South can make 3 hearts here. What about east-west? I guess they can make 4 spades easily. Can even make more than 4 spades if they guess everything. They can make 5 spades. So the double of 3 hearts is interesting. Remember, we have many intermediate players in the audience. This is not for penalties. This is a game try double. This is the only bid West has available to make a game try, because 3 spades would be competitive only a wish to play in 3 spades. So by doubling, he tells his partner, I'm interested in game, but I'm not quite strong enough to bid it myself. What do you think?
Well, I must say, I think North-South have done extremely well here not to do more. And by do more, I mean either bid 5 hearts, which seems to be 2 down for 500, or double 4 spades, which at this vulnerability was a real danger, I think.
Now say the overcall had been 3 clubs or 3 diamonds. Let's take 3 clubs first. And then you have 3 diamonds and 3 hearts available as game tries. And over 3 diamonds you have 3 hearts available. But when he bids 3 hearts, there's no room to bid a suit. So double is your only option to invite game.
Maybe we should also mention North's 4 diamond bid here. North couldn't overcall 1 spade with 2 diamonds, so 4 diamonds is not a suddenly partner I've found a couple of aces. He must have good heart support to bid 4 diamonds. The values for 4 hearts, but he's also shown that he's got a diamond suit on the way to help his partner judge what to do over the 4 spade bid that may be coming.
I'm asked, do you know where the double got its name, the Maximal double? Do you know that, Paul or Bill? But doesn't it relate to this auction? I don't know. It's on the USA convention card, the Maximal double.
Yes, I never knew it had a name, so, well, I know now, but I mean, in all the literature I'd seen, British literature, I've always seen game try double. I'd never seen it called a maximal double, so I think that's something that's come out of perhaps the US at some point.
Well, in moments like these, there's only one way to sort it out, and that is to go to Google. So if you go to Google and type in Maximal double, you'll get a whole host of useful information, and you'll discover that this was indeed a Maximal double.
So the full name is actually Maximal Overcall double. as it's known in USA.
So Grue did very well there, working out the spade position and taking the finesse. Those of you using Gib will be wondering why he lost to the Doubleton Queen of Clubs, but he was protecting his contract there. He could afford to lose to the Doubleton Queen of Clubs. What he couldn't afford to do was for spades to be 3, clubs to be 3-1, and not take the club finesse, because then he'd have a club loser and a diamond loser, and no entry to the established clubs.
And people can't really use Skip if they're listening to us, because then they are on the web client and Gib is not available here, which I think is a good thing. I know that Bill thinks it's not.
Well, I'm over at Roland, but I'm very interested in Brink's opening lead on this board. He's led a diamond from the weaker suit than the clubs, and I think this is reminiscent of a theory of Kit Wolsey, who's been commentating here, who suggests that it's quite bad to lead from suits where the 2 honours are separated by 3. So King 10 is a bad holding to lead from, compared to Jack 9, where the 2 honours are only separated by 2. I don't know if you use that theory here, but the actual layout's actually a good example of where the King 10 fourth lead doesn't work very well.
But isn't a lead from Jack to 4 regarded as a bad lead generally? I mean, every time I lead from Jack to 4, it costs a check.
Sorry, you've broken up a bit for me there, Roland, but I think Jack 9 to 4 is a lot better than Jack empty to 4.
Yeah, I asked that question. Can you hear me now clearly, Bill?
Yes, I can.
I asked you, isn't a lead from Jack to 4 normally regarded as a poor lead? Because it often gives a trick.
Well, whatever's right or wrong, North-South are going to make 3 no trumps after he's led from his diamond, and Lall went up with the king. Yeah, going up to king might have cost a trick or 2, but the defence has been ruthless on the hand, and the damage isn't done yet, isn't finished yet. Lall's now going to get squeezed, and he's probably just going to end up with 4 tricks, isn't he? Maybe even fewer.
Four tricks, I think. It'll go 3 down.
Yeah, 3 down. I mean, no reason that when he's opened to 14, 16, no trump. I guess it depends what the opening no trump range is in the other room. Certainly, if they don't open a no trump, they're going to find their spade fit.
I think this hand's a good example of why it's pretty poor to sort of base your leads on things like don't lead from a jack or anything like that. Fact is that any lead can cost. I mean, in any one of those 4 suits that South had could be disaster or could be bad news to lead from. You don't know. It's perhaps better to have a look at the spot cards and the majors versus the minors and then add it all up rather than work with sort of simple cliches.
I think there is a general trend for experts to be slightly more conservative in leading against one no trump these days. But if you look at the south hand, you really don't want to lead a doubleton spade. Partner hasn't bid at any point. And diamond is, as you were saying, Bill, probably the least worst lead that you can make from that holding, especially when you've got Jack 9 to 4 diamond.
I think this will end in 4 spades. I think Grue is going to bid just that next. Nope, wrong again.
He's going to bid it over 4 diamonds though.
Now, if this is a maximal double, forgot, we should never have mentioned maximal double. No, this is a takeout double. This is just a normal takeout double. Showing good cards. Asking partner for more information.
Well, it's maximal in the sense that West has a very maximal hand, but it's got a lot worse in the auction, hasn't it? With the King X of Hearts, doesn't look so good, and partner's simply bidding his own shortage, so he went quietly.
He did, yes.
A good decision. Slam has no play on a heart lead and diamond return.
Yeah, but you would
Right now,
expect.
You're thinking, oh my God, I've missed a slam.
Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't expect that they have a diamond rough. A sigh of relief from Grue. When he's in 4, that is. So very quick play in this room. I've been playing for 1.5 hours now, and only 2 boards to go. The allotted time for 16 boards playing with screens is 2 hours and 20 minutes. And they may need all that time in the other room because they are about 5 boards behind.
So I guess most of our listeners will not have used screens before, and perhaps will have seen them if you've looked at the live video feed. You can see the screen in use there, the tray that holds all the bidding cards that's slid underneath the screen. But I think you'll find that most top experts who play with them really prefer playing with screens. It makes life a lot easier when you can't see your partner, I find.
Yeah, it's great to avoid seeing him or her scowling or groaning or rolling his eyes. It's really nice.
Do you think they will bid for 6 diamonds here?
Yes.
I would think so. It's the type of hand that's going to work well with relays, isn't it? If South can show his 3-5-4-1 distribution, that fits quite well with North having just the ace of clubs opposite singleton. The Queen of Hearts looks a good card. That would be a reason to upgrade. It's a matter of whether they can sort out all of the controls. But I think they'll get to 6 diamonds.
And how good is 6 diamonds? I mean, just look at the north-south cards. Try to ignore the east-west hands. How good is it? I mean, as soon as diamonds are 4-1, you need a lot, don't you?
It would be a lot better if well, you can probably look to establish hearts, can't you? That would be the line. Even with diamonds 4-1, you think.
Yes, and looking at the hands, I mean, the 10 of diamonds is a very useful card. If you have to ruff hearts in the dummy, you can ruff with a high trump, because you have the 10 in your hand.
On the other hand, a club lead would put that line under pressure,
contact,
wouldn't it?
Yep, the club lead is best because it threatens the long trump in the south hand and makes the heart establishment line probably require diamonds to be 3-2. But it is an excellent slam, there's no question about it, mainly because of the 10 of diamonds.
The 10 of hearts doesn't hurt either. It does mean if there was Jack Doubleton in hearts in either hand, then that's going to help things.
Right, I mean half the time you can establish the hearts with one ruff because they're either 3-3 or the jack drops early. So the 10 of hearts is a useful card as well, as you say.
The challenge for Drijver now, and Bill's probably played more relay more relay systems than I have, is establishing what you can safely ask for at this point. And is there a response that will embarrass you and force you into an early decision about whether to go on?
I assume North is in control of this auction and has been relaying all the way through, and South has somehow been describing his hand. There are no alerts around these bids, but it strikes me that this is almost certainly an artificial auction.
Meanwhile, looking at the scoreline, the difference is 23, and it was 22 when we started this morning, so nothing much has happened. Yes, we had a few swings, but they all evened out.
if they play similar methods to me, at this point Drijver will know that south is minimum or maximum and will know his distribution. And he'll be deciding whether, and his options will either be to ask for, four diamonds is normally a sign-off in my world, but we'll see what it is for them. We're deciding whether to ask for controls in terms of slam points or key card in one of the suits.
Yes, in many relay systems, when the relayer bids 4 diamonds, it says to partner, please bid 4 hearts and pass my next bid. It's the way of exiting from the hand, breaking the relays. You found out enough, you want to place the contract. And it looks like maybe this has happened here. We'll see. If south passes, that's the end of it. That will indicate that 4 diamonds was the sign-off sequence.
Yes, I'd play the same, and the only thing about the sign-off sequence is that south, if he had exceptional controls, would be able to do something other than bid 4 hearts.
The pause here indicates that it wasn't, and this option is still going.
Perhaps 5 diamonds just indicates that North has no spade control.
This also might be a slightly quantitative sequence. It depends what 5 diamonds over 3 spades would have meant, depending on how complex they make their relays after when they get into this sequence.
Well, relief
So I
for Paul
expect
and I.
Grue will
We
lead a
both
club
predicted
here.
they'd reach this slam, and they took their time doing it, but they did.
Yes, a club lead would have been more challenging, but I think he would have prevailed regardless. So if he had got a club lead, he would play the Queen of Hearts, trick 2. So Lall will win and continue clubs, and the declarer will be down to 3 trumps. So it looks like he will need trumps to be 3-2 after that. He can't stand a 4-1 trump break on a club lead, if my analysis is correct.
It is often, when you're deciding what to lead, if there isn't anything obvious, it is often true that leading declarer's shortest suit will be most effective. It's just one of these broad guidelines that people might use, that trying to lead declarer's short suit is often effective. Assume there's nothing else that you've learned from the auction that suggests a better lead.
This is normal not to just draw one round of trumps, to play on hearts immediately. And as long as they can't take a hard ruff, he will be okay most of the time. It's not entirely safe, of course. You may argue that if West had a singles in heart, he would have led it, yes, but he could have had the ace to... West could have had the ace, and then he could have gone up with the ace and give partner a hard ruff.
You'd feel really stupid though if they won the ace of hearts and gave the other hand a spade ruff. Spades were 6-1, wouldn't you?
So he's home now. May turn out to be a good board for the Dutch. We won't know until the board has been played in the other room, and that may take a while. They just finished board 28 in the other room, and we are now on the last board of the set. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank our excellent operator in Veldhoven. His name is Dirk Klauwens. Well done to you. Thanks to my co-commentators, Paul Gibson and Bill Jacobs, and to our colleagues doing the written comments, David Bird, Yard Freiling. We had a few others, Kit Woolsey and Teskin earlier. To the WBF for allowing us to broadcast, and of course to all of you coming this morning, listening and reading. We hope you enjoyed the show and that you will be back later. And later is in about 1 hour and 23 minutes at 13:45 Central European Time.
So a quiet hand to finish by the look of it.
Well,
Actually,
we'll
not
undo
quite.
everything.
Because if North leads his club, then it's going to go down, isn't it, on a club ruff?
Mm-hmm. Sure is. How did you find that, Paul?
Well, from North's perspective, when opponents open a strong club and you've got so few points, you know that many of the finesses that the declarer might want to take are liable to be working. So experts don't like leading doubletons, but here it was more marked, I think, than some other occasions. With 5 diamonds to the king, you're not going to be making huge number of tricks in diamonds.
So I suppose we'll see most of you in the closed room in a couple of minutes. We also have voice commentary there. Dave Thompson, Australia, Patrick Carter from New Zealand, and Bill Frisby from England. Thanks everyone, and goodbye for now.
Bye-bye.
I think North-South know that if East-West have found a 4-4 spade fit, they're just, they've lost the board. It's just a question of limiting the damage, really. Well, I'll declare now knows the club finesse is not working. I mean, North is a passed hand, and North has shown up with ace queen of diamonds and a top heart. By inference, you would think South would lead a top heart from ace king. So North can't really have ace queen of diamonds, king of hearts, and king of clubs as a passed hand. So he pretty much knows all the cards.
So I can have a couple of hearts here, but he's still going to wind up with a deep heart loser plus the ace of diamonds plus another club. Is that going to be enough to beat this?
Well, he comes back to hand in clubs for the second heart rough, but then he's got an exit problem from table. We could have a situation when North gets to score their 10 of spades by roughing a club.
You don't mind North scoring the 10 of spades, that just means that frees up your trumps. I mean, I think you don't. The North-South have got What? He took the club finesse. Okay, that's slightly interesting. And perhaps he's just doing that, hoping that clubs are 3-3. Knowing that club finesse will lose, but hoping he can now, I don't know, ruff a heart, come to the ace clubs, draw trumps, and then cash 2 more clubs. Throwing his last heart away. Because South hasn't got the third trump. If dummy had the 7 of clubs, you'd be able to make it. You could finesse it.
You're now okay because you can rough a diamond back to him. But South could have done better with the club back.
And of course, roughing the diamond back to hand also establishes the king of diamonds to get rid of that other heart.
Yes, unfortunate for the defence, there's just no way for North to get in to play that trump. Because he plays the ace of diamonds, he sets the... No, he could have, if he thinks the ace of diamonds is coming down anyway, he could have just played the ace of diamonds there and played the trump. But obviously that's sort of giving up, but it does at least stop that. I think that hold it to 8 tricks. North just deliberately gave declare the king of diamonds because he's going to get it anyway.
That puts the lead up.
Yet another
to,
4-spade contract.
There's still 67 boards left in this match though, so 35 is still only in the sort of a medium range and very, very recoverable level. Certainly America won't be panicking yet.
Well, they'll have a long relay auction and West will be able to find out his partner's exact shape, and then he'll be able to find out that his partner has those 3 cards. And he's then got to decide whether he wants to play a slam. I mean, if you knew that... I mean, to some extent it might depend who gets to bid spade first. Obviously, the slam is far better if West is declarer. If you knew that North was the sort of person who was going to lead the ace of hearts on this auction, you'd bid slam because either the ace of hearts is onside or you're going to get it led. Okay, that's put paid to relays. So West will just bid 3 spades natural now, giving East a bit of a problem. Oh, South thinking about giving this a 4th heart, is he?
And it's good technique by North to take up some room straight away to stop East-West from being able to use their relay system to work out what's going on.
Yes, this is definitely something that we've seen from all of the young American players. They know that if the opponent's sort of applying relays, either relays after a strong club or just here, you know, after a normal opening bid, it really does pay to preempt. I mean, in the past, you often see people, you know, when someone opens a strong club, they go, "What's that?" And and you say, "Well, it's 16 or more points." They think, "Oh, they've got a strong hand, I'd better pass," and that's just absolutely the worst thing you can do. I think even some people at the top level just err too much in that way that they don't preempt anything like enough in these sort of artificial relay auctions. So I think North's showing the right attitude here.
Well, it's virtually a self-sustaining suit. He'd like to have the 10 or something like that in there, but when you get preempted like this, you just need to make a practical bid.
Slam is perhaps fractionally better. You might be able to rough the diamonds good sometimes. I mean, imagine if you found out that East had that exact hand, but I mean, you just knew the shape and the top cards. There's still a chance that he might have the 10 of clubs, and that might be an extra entry that you could use to, you could go ace of diamonds, diamond rough, ace of spades, diamond rough, draw trumpets. Now, if diamonds are 3-3, you're home, and even if they're not, you might, if dummy had the 10 of clubs, you might still be able to rough the diamonds good. Added to which you might get the ace of hearts later, it might be on side. So I think probably you want to be bidding this slam, but
So it's the second time in this match where quite a good slam's been missed at both tables, but fortuitously, because neither were going to be making.
it's interesting which heart North should lead if he's going to lead a heart to try to get a diamond rough. Or another interesting point is whether North could make a light in a double of 6 spades, even though he's on lead. I mean, imagine if sort of North's shown a weak hand like this. Imagine if it being gone like this, but somehow they'd got to 6 spades. Do you think North should double and then lead some random heart like the 10 or something, sort of trying to tell his partner that he's got a diamond void? I'm not sure I've ever seen anybody try that idea. It might be completely mad. I mean, perhaps you don't need to double say you've got a void, because you just lead the right heart that makes it obvious that you've got a diamond void. But
that wouldn't be too successful if West ran to 6 in their trump.
I think that 7 of hearts lead was actually quite telling, because he's obviously underled a whole bunch of higher heart honours, but he hasn't led his littlest heart, so which would indicate he's after a club switch. So the 7 of hearts I think was quite a good card to indicate to partner that the diamond switch is what he's looking for.
I don't think it's surprising that both tables missed this quite reasonable spade slam. It's just too hard when you get that preemption unless you've got a good fit. They're playing it in a 6-1 fit. They don't have so many points that they'll drive to slam anyway. So I think this is the expected result.
Yes, I agree. It's very easy to fall into the trap of looking at all four hands and seeing that it's a very good slam, but bridge is not played looking at all four hands.
Well done here to get to S1. People tend to miss slams in 4-4 minor fits because they sort of tend to play the hands in 3-no trumps quite a lot.
Yeah, and it's got other problems. I mean, you've got mirrored positions in spades, a few holes in the heart suit, this ambiguous-looking stiff queen of clubs. So, yeah, they're very well done by the Dutch pair to bid 6 diamonds in the open room.
There is a combined 31 points, so I think if you actually get to bid and support diamonds, it is quite likely that it'll be duplicated here, but not certain that it's a good result for Holland at the moment, or the Netherlands.
I think 3-no trumps is a little unambitious there. In 2 clubs game forcing, you've got some extras. This is exactly what Terence Rees was referring to when he said that 3-no trumps was the most stultifying bid in the game. I mean, what he meant was if you ever bid 3-no trumps, partner is very, very loath to move on, which means you better be right when you bid 3-no trumps, because if it's not right, you know, you're going to stop there and you're going to miss your best contract.
How about 3 spades on the south cards? And that would wind up pinpointing your club shortage, and North will be very happy about that.
I mean, obviously, if North just made a slight push with 4-no trumps, then South would be bidding something like a shot. But this is when you miss slams, is when both people take slightly cautious views. I think South is more to blame here. I mean, it is difficult with so much spade strength, but trouble is, if he bids 3 spades, that probably would be sort of fourth view. That'd be saying, you know, I'm not sure, I haven't got that good spades. And South knows that if 3-no trumps is the right contract, he's the guy with ace king of spades. He's got to bid it. But on the other hand, he's got such a good hand. I don't think he should be scared of 5 diamonds. You're much more likely to have 6 diamonds on than you are to go down in 5 diamonds. So, I mean, if you imagine that South would have bid exactly the same way with that hand, but without the king of hearts, he'd have bid it like that, wouldn't he? 1 heart, then 2 diamonds, then 2 diamonds, then 3-no trumps. So I think perhaps he just had to not bid 3-no trumps there.
Just didn't have the right club hips there for the pop-up squeeze on East there. this might be another chance for the Netherlands. It's not jumping out at me how he beat 4 spades. Oh, a club rough. So if you can lead a club, and when you get in with the ace of spades, cash the ace of clubs and give partner a club rough, and you get this one down. But that's not necessarily going to be a easy defence to find.
Well, when North has such a weak hand, you would think he would lead his double. And, I mean, the weaker your hand is, the more you should be inclined to lead shortages, because, you know, partner's got all the entries. Partner's going to be the one getting in.
And even if North...
So we have reached the last board now.
Yeah. Even if North leads a diamond, South might be able to find a small club switch, and that will come to the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, the club shift looks natural from the South, and not necessarily looking to give partner a rough, but simply because dummy has 3 small. I mean, what else are you going to play? And then it'll work out very nicely when partner does happen to have a double.
Well, I guess the danger of a South might be if he perceives that the clearer might be looking to play it on cross-rough lines, and South might open up the trump suit if North hasn't led a club originally. But let me just I'll say a few quick thank yous. Thanks to Bill Frisby and Patrick Carter for their voice commentary here, and also the had, and thanks to our excellent operator in the Netherlands who's had a card perfect set, and thanks very much to the WBF and BBO for making all this possible.
I don't think South will go for trumps, because he's going to be worried that... I mean, so 3 of diamonds promises in honour, so you give your partner king of diamonds, partner then can't have anything else, so if you play trumps, then Declare's just going to be able to use the hearts as a trick source, isn't he?
Yes, I agree. Anything else?
Obviously, partner's got a heart deck, the contract's just down anyway, so... Leading a low club cases for all sorts of things. Partner might have the queen of clubs and Declare might misguess, partner might have the king of clubs, or partner might have a double club. And South's got only 2 trumps, so there's no way they can go wrong with it. I mean, if South had 3 trumps, obviously he'd have to jump up with the ace of trumps on the first round to return a club, while his partner still had a trump, but as the cards lie, they can't go wrong. I mean, Declare is going to be tackling trumps from his hands anyway, so that's not so much of an issue. I mean, can Declare see the club rough coming and perhaps try to take a roughing diamond finesse to get rid of a club from dummy? Well, let's say small club leads, you win the king and you go, oh dear, ace and another club's coming. I'll lead the queen of diamonds, queen, king, rough, come back to hand with a heart and throw a club from dummy on the jack of diamonds.
Yes, that would be nice.
I mean, that you would look very silly doing that if there was not a club rough on, and if South had false carded from ace king of diamonds at trick 1. But I mean, in general, it doesn't pay to play for your opponents to be doing ridiculously sort of spectacular things all the time. You just play for them.
Of course, if you lead the queen of diamonds not intending to run it, you're going to wind up in some situations not being able to discard a potential club loser on the hearts when the spades don't break so well. Maybe if someone has, say South has singleton 9 or singleton 10 of spades, you might want to retain the 4 spades and dummy.
Okay, I certainly don't understand that shift. Yeah, South leading ace in another club's quite an interesting idea, but I mean that might make Declare misguess which defender has the double club, but I don't think that's not going to change anything, because for all Declare knows, it's North who has the ace of spades anyway. So you know, even if it were South with the double club, you'd still be worried that North is going to win the ace of trumps and give his partner a club rough. So you'd still perhaps go for the roughing diamond finesse.
Well, this looks like the lead's going up to 60, and a lot of boards still to play. 64 boards to go, but 60 is starting to look a bit more significant.
It's quite a run of imps for the Netherlands. This will be, I think, 37 imps in these last 5. The match is looking neck and neck, or the set at least was looking neck and neck. So the resumption is in 55 minutes from now, so we hope to see you all back then. Thanks all for watching and listening.